Hey guys, welcome back to Testing with Destin, and the final unit of the four for me to test is Count Dracula. This is the ancient exclusive buffer, which is really interesting, really weird, and really hard to test. So bear with me throughout this video. I will not be reaching his full potential. He's absolutely brimming with it, but I will do my best to give you guys a somewhat accurate representation on how he works and how you can use him. This guy is the guy I have been the most excited for, and I'm really hyped to go through with this. So let's go into the kit, shall we? Count Dracula is a piercer and a chaotic. If it's chaotic or arbiter, it means it is ancient exclusive. This guy is a fighter, single target physical attack, multi-strike attack, anti-healing, and ally buff. If we look at his stats, we can see that he has 5,100 attack, which is, average, maybe above average, since he does do piercing damage. Then we have 17,000 HP, almost 3,000 defense, 18 cost. His attack interval is insane at 10 seconds, which is wild. So you may need to build him with a lot of attack speed, but even then, I mean, you can only build so much, right? Then we get to his skills, which are going to start with the talent. Cannot launch basic attack autonomously. You'll see what this means in a bit. Now, while on the field, he applies Soul Rot to 2 allied heals with the highest attack within 2 tiles. So within a Dolores range. Soul Rot causes HP drain equal to 10% of current HP per second, and the person that has it gains 15% damage increase. Cannot be dispelled. Now what's important is this will not kill your ally, but it does rapidly lower their HP in exchange for extra damage. Now allied heroes affected by Soul Rot grant Count Dracula 1 stack of Soul Siphon, which is going to increase his damage. So he's going to be able to go up to all the way to 30% extra damage. So not only is he buffing the allies, he's buffing himself. Going to the kit, we can see that the basic attack is, weirdly enough, no range, which is similar to something like a Cerberus, but it works very different. What this means is when an ally that has Soul Rot on deals damage to an enemy with basic attack, Count Dracula launches a coordinated attack, dealing 200% damage. Basically, he attacks with his allies. Now, he does attack very slow, but still, that's very cool. Going to the first passive, the ultimate attack deals an extra 15% damage to enemies with HP below 70%. Against enemies with HP below 30%, it's instead 30% more damage, which is obviously good. He's comboing with other people. It's likely the enemies are going to be low. Then the second passive is when deployed, for every 1 allied hero in the target range, gains 3 stacks of Soul Rot. For every 1 stack of Soul Rot, gains 5% penetration. So he's going to gain 3 stacks, which is going to give us give him 15% penetration, which is pretty cool. He also has 5 cost less in arena. And if we go to the ultimate, this one's a doozy. It's 500 cost, 15 seconds. During the ultimate, it absorbs all Soul Rot effects to deal 60% damage to 1 enemy unit in range 5 times per second for 15 seconds. It inflicts anti-healing for 5 seconds. Causes HP drain equal to 15% of the current HP to the hero per second and cannot be healed, and it gains 10% damage increase for every 100 bonus attack speed. After the ultimate ends, all stacks of Soul Siphon are consumed. Then we have the bond skill where you need Lady Mina, and it makes so that the ultimate range increases and Blood Covenant's damage multiplier increases by 40%, so stronger basic attacks. Going into the Awakenings, these are pretty good. The A1 allies with the Soul Rot effect have their damage increase raised to 30%. Instead of 15%, it's 30%. That's a huge A1. A2 extra attack is pretty good. A3 ultimate attacks inflict defense reduction on enemies best defense reduction in the game, or it's tied, lasting for 5 seconds. We have extra penetration on the A4, and the A5, during the ultimate, the more times an enemy is hit by the hero's attacks, the higher the subsequent damage they take, with the damage increase capped at 40%, which is really, really interesting. His kit is super weird, and I don't know how good or bad it will be. I mean, this is a very, very strange character. Now, if we go over to the builds, we can check the exclusive artifact. Every single one of these has an exclusive artifact, including Count Dracula with Crest of Dracula. Increases damage by 30%. During the ultimate, gains additional attack equal to 10% of the attack of absorbed ally heroes with Soul Rot. So the more attack his allies have, the more he will get. Then we get to the build, which is Soulbound. I'm mostly running this just because I don't really know what would be the ideal. And I do think I'm also going to put on a little bit better gear this time because I need that attack speed really bad. So we're going to get that for that attack speed. And we'll get Count Dracula up to 5.1 seconds of interval. So there's a lot of areas that I could use him in. There's little areas I could use him in. I'm going to try my best to figure out some interesting tests, and we'll see how the hell he works. The first thing we're going to do is going to require navigating over here to Banana Luck. Shout out Banana Luck. I didn't ask him to set this, but he is one of the only people with an actual single target defense, which is exactly where I want to try him. So he's chaotic and he's piercer. He does a little damage wherever, but he also does some buffing. So maybe he's good here. Well, that's what we're going to find out. So the main things here is most likely he will have to be placed last. He does have cheaper costs, which is great, and he buffs. And he buffs himself even more when there's other units around him. So he's most likely going to be placed a little bit closer to the end, but hopefully he will be good regardless. Here we got Valderon, Sithra, and Valeria, and obviously Diao-chan. We're going to do Valderon immediately. I kind of messed up the placements there, whoops. But we place him down, we get him down, and we can continue going. Banana Luck is using a weird Arbiter team, because I think he was just testing something out. And we're just going to keep it going. I mean, we need to get some more costs so we can place our Sithra and our Valeria down. We're going to get rolled right there, but we should be okay. Here we're going to place down our Sithra. Immediately, we're going to click our Valderon ult, if the game will let me, which it will. And then we are going to be able to press the Sithra ult, if we want, to help clean up a little bit. Then we're going to place our Valeria. That Sithra ult was probably really bad, but I didn't want my Valderon losing a stack, so bear with me. Then we can place down our Valeria, and this is our core. Now, how does the unit play in? Well, we're going to place him in the middle because of a couple things. So basically, because he doesn't actually have a range, by the way, he's really funny. He's static right now. I assume they'll fix him before he actually releases. And his animation for being placed is so weird. Oh no, they fixed it. Okay, he has an actual animation now. He used to be that he just like freaking phased into existence. It was hilarious. Anyways, he has a couple things going for him. Number one, his range is massive on his ultimate. And then number two is he gives everyone around him some buffs. And then number three is his basic range is actually infinite. It just depends on if his allies are attacking, which is pretty cool. So we're just going to place him there. When we need him, we're going to click his ult. But for the most part, Sith or Valderon are probably going to do everything. I most likely will deliberately make a worse attack happen, purely to make this a little bit, more entertaining, to show him off a little bit more. So here, what we can do is we can actually click his ult. Going to give him 15 seconds. This guy's going to come in. We're going to get some damage out. And he's going to go down. Not only that, we also get some anti-heal out, which is cool. And we do end up killing things. So, I mean, His ult does a decent amount of damage. It's just a question of, does his basic attack do a lot of damage? Well, his basic attack has a 5-second interval, so probably not. But, you know, maybe he does. Here, we're going to click his ult again, just so that I can finish this guy off, and also the guy next. As you can see, it's going to get drained, and then we can end off with the Cithra. This is basically how it goes, right? His ultimate does damage, then everyone else does more damage than him, but hey, he's buffing them, right? So that's what matters. Now, is his damage meaningful? I'm not too sure. And if we look, you can see that it is not meaningful. A freaking Cithra, barely ulting, is doing 4 times the damage that he is doing when I literally tried to adjust to give him more damage. That damage is abysmal. And unfortunately, it is also what I've been seeing in general. I've tried him in a couple areas so far, just as kind of a precursor, and his damage output is sorely lacking, unfortunately. The second to last thing I want to cover, well, maybe second to last is kind of morbid. We're going to be doing 324. Alright, he is going to replace the tile that I usually place Neja in. He's going to be like kind of a tank, kind of a buffer type of thing. I don't know, it's kind of experimental. I don't think he's going to be great here, but I thought of this and I wanted to do it. The thing is, he does damage increase, and Diao-chan does penetration and inspiration. So, what is missing? Well, damage increase, of course. So, potentially he could be used as a little bit of a buffer. The thing is, without the A1, which is a big ask, and I refuse to use it, without the A1, it's only 15% damage increase, which is really minuscule, if we're being completely honest. So, there's not really, like, high hopes for that, unfortunately. Anyways, we are going to put down Van Helsing. I love Van Helsing. He's my favorite of the ones that were added, absolutely. And we're just going to keep it going. So, I mean, go watch the Van Helsing video. He's a lot of fun. But we're just going to kind of spam everything. The thing is, it's like, I place him here. And what that does is it makes the damage slightly higher. It also puts more strain on my healers. And it doesn't even increase the attack. I mean, the damage that much. Like, it's freaking 15%, and then he dies because, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I just, you know, maybe I should be taking this a bit more seriously and being like, oh, I should build him with HP. I should do this. I could build him in a tanky morale, which I could. But, like, what's the point? Like, his damage increase is almost nothing. All he does is selfish to himself. And then even after that point, you know, he's squishy. He can't be healed in his ultimate, apparently. Like, I don't know. He's not great. And he does such a small amount of damage. And it's 10-second attack interval to do 200,000. If it was every 2 seconds, sure, that's fine. He would not be, like, insane, but he'd be something. But the way it is right now, it's just, he's so mid. And, the last thing we're gonna do is GVG. Now, for GVG, we have to talk about a couple things. So, first of all, someone, shout out Euphonia, wanted me to try something specific, which is to face him away, because when he ults, he gets rid of his stacks, so he lowers his damage. He wanted me to face him away to see if that makes him better, and also, I need to put him in a position where he can actually buff. Now, the reason why I don't think this is going to work is because his basic attack damage is abysmal. But with Lady A hitting this area, which couldn't normally be hit, Dracula will actually hit them as well, even if they are outside of anyone's range. Now, beyond that point, we're just kind of going for some burst. I'm gonna do just a normal Chomper attack as usual, and obviously this can be swarmed, but we're just gonna do the normal Chomper attack to kind of gauge the damage a little bit there. Let me find the abyssals, and then we can grab our spiders and get it going. So quickly, let me just double check that this is affiliated, which it is. And we're just gonna go in. Vlad is just so hard to place. Because if I place him up here in front of Lady A, then I can no longer have Iovar there, so I have to move him. And if I move him, then he can get rocked. And then it causes a bunch of issues. So the range is very, very annoying to deal with, to say the least. Anyways, we're gonna go in as usual. Obviously, we're gonna get destroyed pretty heavily, but you can kind of see we're taking about 30k hits from Iovar, about 70k from Lady A. If it's a mark, it's closer to 160, which is pretty high. I mean, he is 1 HP, and she is taking up a lot of the heals. But overall, I mean, the damage is good. But the question is, if we take Dracula out, is the damage really that much worse? Because I don't think he buffs very well. I'm gonna be honest. I think he needs to be buffed. Let's take him out, shall we? And let's run the exact same... Oh, sorry, that is the tower. Let me quickly adjust that. Let's take him out of the keep. And let's try it without. We can kind of gauge, you know, the amount of damage everyone is doing and compare that a little bit. So here we're going to exit out. We can go with this. Press that sweet, sweet auto fight. And see what happens. So here we're going to do, once again, the abyssals. This time no one is getting low. This time the healing is all on the Brokir. And you can see that we are doing about 27k. It's going to go up a little bit. I'm going to give it a second just because we do need to hit max soulbound stacks. Basically, Ivar is doing about 32k, roughly. Lady A is doing about 65. Now, if you remember what it was before, that is almost identical damage. Now, how much does the mark do? Well, 150 there. Yep, it does about 150. So we're getting about 10k more on the Lady A mark, and we're getting a little bit more on other things by using Dracula. Now, what's the issue with Dracula? Well, do you know a couple heroes in this game that may potentially be good at buffing? Well, let's go over a couple of them, shall we? Well, what's the main one, right? The main one is Diao-Chan. Diao-Chan increases attack, which is far better than increasing damage. So although she does work with Dracula, she is far better, especially in a team like that for GVG. Who else is better? Well, Magda is better at buffing. Well, who else is better? Well, in my opinion, Dasomi is better at buffing. There's a lot of other buffers that are a lot better, and especially the ones that give attack are really gonna bring you further in the long term, especially in GVG. Dracula is very selfish, which would be fine if his damage was good, but he is held back so heavily by this insane, idiotic 10.0 attack interval, which makes zero sense. I have some cracked ass gear. Like, this is gear that's better than most people have on their entire account. And he does nothing. He hits like a wet noodle. It is crazy. And his damage is mediocre. And then his buffing, it's 15% damage. And you may argue, oh, the A1's good, right? Well, 30% damage still is not that worth it, especially because he only buffs in a Dolores range, which is bad. So, honestly, my honest opinion, you're better off either using a better DPS or a better buffer. He doesn't do damage. He doesn't buff. At least not very well. What I think they should do to fix him, just as a quick tangent, is, first of all, change this attack interval. This attack interval should never be in this game. This game should never have a 10.0 attack interval. Make it 4, or even better yet, 3, something attack interval. That would be better, right? You could lower it from there. That would be fine. Then his damage needs to be increased. And his buffing needs to be increased. Sure, he's a collab unit. Maybe he won't be in the pool forever. So in that case, he doesn't have to be overpowered, right? I don't want him to be meta-defining. But what I would like to see is some better kits. So what they should do is they should make it so he actually does damage, and also lean into his buffing a little bit more. Soul Rot is kind of cool with the damage increase. Make it so that he does damage increase and inspiration in one unit. To my knowledge, no unit does damage increase and inspiration in one kit. He could be the first. He could be an actually unique buffer, right? It's just so similar to a lot of the other ones. I think Van Helsing is amazing. And then the other ones, I think, suffer from a similar thing where they're trying to do too much while also doing too little, which is really rough. So that's my thoughts on Dracula. Do I think he's a must pull? Hell no. If you want him, you think he might not come back, I think you should pick him up just for the collection. That's what I'm gonna do. Maybe he gets buffed before release. That's always an option. Maybe he becomes actually strong. I don't know, just keep an eye out. Either way, he is kind of lackluster, unfortunately, and a disappointment. So that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching, like and subscribe, all of that jazz, and I'll see you all in the next one. Destined signing out. I'm going to bed now.